All right, well, I'm excited about this episode because, well, a few things. First, this is the farthest that I have taken you into our woods, the woods at the back of our house. There's this kind of a natural path that leads down to the creek area, and we're not going down to the creek because that's not what this episode's about. But just stop here on this little rise, look around. There's a tree that they had cut down right before we came here. A little bit of a stump. Got some big old, there's a shagbark hickory there. Going around. That treetop came down in a recent storm. There's a, look at that whopper. Yeah. Wow. I think that's a hickory, but I'm not sure. Tree identification is something I need to get better at. But the reason I'm going down here is we found Spicebush. Oops. Try not to get the setting sun in your eyes there. I think. So, Spicebush. I don't remember the taxonomical name, but a friend where we had lived previously had introduced me to Spicebush. So I was excited to find some here. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. So it is a native species in Indiana. It's a small shrub. Well, it can get about 10 feet tall, but it is a small shrub and has these bright red berries. I'm going to show you how to identify it and use it. Now I see the leaves, but I don't see the berries. Not all of the trees, not all of the shrubs make berries. They are a dioecious plant, which means the plant has what we would refer to as male and female, meaning there's some that produce one kind of pollen. Well, there's one that produces pollen and one that produces berries. So the males produce the pollen, but they will not produce berries. Both have flowers. The male flowers produce pollen, which the pollinators grab and put in the female flowers, and the female produces the fruit. Now the fruit can be either male or female, so it can produce more berries, more shrubs rather. Now I see a big patch of them over here, but no berries. Now there was some. Aha! See a little glint of red over there in the sunlight. All right, so let's go here. Yep, there we go. Okay, excuse me. All right, so this is not something you may normally see in the woods, where it has been picked clean, but we have a lot of deer in our woods. They don't prefer spicebush, but when they don't have much else to eat, they will eat spicebush, which really is another indicator that we kind of need to hunt in this area, because all this greenery and they're going for something they don't really like means there are way too many of them for this section of woods. But I found some spicebush rather, so let's sit down and talk about it. So first, this is the berry. Now there are a lot of red berries in Indiana, and some of them are toxic. So first, let's look at the shrub. Usually there will be big clusters of them. We've got one there, and here, and here. This one has a couple. Oh, didn't mean to blind you there, sorry. The reason that they spread like that, first, their berries don't fall very far. They don't have much of a spread. Actually, yes, they do. I forget I said that. They do have a bit of a spread, but they mainly go through roots. Now, you can reproduce them by seed, but that's not their main way of reproducing. They prefer to grow by roots. So they will have a plant, it will grow a root, and then grow up another plant. So they will be in these clusters, kind of like I pointed out over there. These are the leaves that you'll be looking at. So notice they are alternating leaves, meaning there's one on one side and then one on the other side, and then, well, in this case they're kind of branching off. But they will be very simple leaves. So you've got, this is a leaf. You can see the ribs on it, kind of arrow shaped, like it's a typical leaf shape. Also notice how there are no fringes. The edge, the technical term is the margin. The edge of the leaf is smooth. There's no tooth, there's no spikes or ridges, there's no thickening, there's no wavy pattern there. It is just a ribbed leaf, smooth margins, alternating leaf pattern, and some of them will turn this color of yellow. So that's one way to find it. And if you're looking at the berries, they don't grow in groups. There is, whoops, didn't mean to do that, drop the phone. Oh, and there's some more down there. All right, so this is definitely Spicebush. If you look at the end, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see, where's the, I can't focus. Okay, at the end there's a very, very, very slight indentation. It is not spherical. It is kind of an oblong shape, like an oval shape. The fruit is fairly firm, and they do not form in clusters. They may be one or two off of, you can see here, there's this one and where another one probably was. They do not form clusters. If you see something like this with clusters, it is not Spicebush. So the berries, actually the whole thing is edible. So first the berries. The main thing is going to be the berries. These have all sorts of uses, which is why I'm excited about it. The green berries, when they'll be green basically from about early spring all the way through early August. The green berries are edible. They are kind of a peppery, citrusy, which is one of the reasons why they're called Spicebush. Kind of a peppery, citrusy flavor. You can use them fresh to make a green curry paste, or you can pickle them and eat them like capers. These start to ripen up in September. We're in the end of September here, or in October. So when they get to be like this, they become more like a blend of allspice and black pepper with kind of a hint of maybe cinnamon and clove. So when they are dried, they are sometimes used as a replacement for allspice. During the War Between the States, War Between States or the War for Independence, I don't remember, one of those, when imports were difficult, imports from India, etc., where they would get allspice and black pepper, they used this as a replacement for allspice and black pepper. And some people still use them as a replacement for cloves. One person that I looked at when doing some research on this said they don't buy allspice or cloves or black pepper or cinnamon anymore. You can use the bark as a mild cinnamon substitute, the bark of the tree there. The very, very young twigs in winter, you can brew them and the leaves into a kind of chai-like tea. Now you have to brew them a long time, like for 24 hours. But the berries, you can use these fresh. You can eat them fresh. Have a really, really pungent taste. This one's a little sweeter. Huh. It has kind of a little bit of a dark heat to it. But you can use these, here's another one, like red curry. You can use them in a red curry paste. You can dry them and use them like allspice, clove, cinnamon, black pepper. Well, not quite cinnamon, that's the bark. You can use them in savory and sweet applications. Let's see. The leaves, I'm just going to eat this one too. Oh, they do have a large seed, but the seed is fairly soft and edible. The leaves here, you take those. Those have been used, brewed as a tea for rheumatoid arthritis pain and stomach issues and skin disorders. So, there's medicinal value in the plant. There is definitely an ecological value to the plant. Now, I don't know that you can see it. The phone doesn't do a great job, and that's fine. I didn't get it for the camera. It's just what I have. But it goes past that birch tree as far as the spread of this plant. There's some past that. That's not a birch. That's a beech. That's a beech. Beeches have lovely, lovely bark all the way down, and I can still see it stretching down all the way to the creek. You can kind of see the creek from there. It's right there, between those trees. That's our creek. So this, with its roots, it keeps the soil in. It's basically impossible to kill it. It spreads like crazy. It is fantastic food for pollinators. It attracts multiple types of swallowtail butterflies, so they are popular in butterfly gardens. Actually, there's a Spicebush swallowtail because I'm just looking at this beech tree here. Look at those roots, and then look. Oh, I love it. That thing must be 100 feet tall. I love it. Those roots are amazing. That bark is amazing. Anyway, that's a beech. That's not the focus of the video. I just love beech trees. So yeah, they're good for pollinators, good for swallowtails. As I said, deer can eat the berries. Rabbits and possums and birds eat the berries. They're one of those plants that keeps going even through winter. So the native bird species rely on it for their foraging, for food, to keep them going through winter. As I said, it has an important ecological niche. It grows well on edges, and it can tolerate basically anything. Woo, sun, there we go. Full sun, partial shade, wet, dry, poor soil quality, all sorts of stuff. So it's another one of those plants that comes in, and if there's nothing else there, it will take over. It's an excellent understory, and we found some up by the edge of the woods as well, so it's a good protector for the forest edge, which is important for keeping cold and hot winds from just blowing through the woods and distressing the lower bark of the younger trees. So all in all, it is an important and quite versatile shrub. I'm very happy to have found it. I will say from personal experience though, don't eat a whole lot of the seeds at once. They are very, very high in fiber. Anyway, moving on. So besides that, I love Spicebush, and I am looking forward to other ways of using it. It makes a really interesting tasting tea. It basically just tastes like the berries, but in a tea. So I love it. I really like it. We will probably incorporate it into our garden next year. We're going to Take some inspiration from David the Good's grocery row gardening system, where you take shrubs and trees and prune them really small, like 4 to 6 feet high, so they don't shade out all your crops, and use that as the basis for planting the rest of your stuff. But that's next year. So probably what I'll do, they say the best way to transplant Spicebush is just to take the berry, the fresh berry, take it right off the tree and plant it in the ground, or in a pot. We might do that as well. But they will overwinter and then come right back up, basically right after the last frost. They'll be one of the first things coming up. So yeah, Spicebush, Indiana native, important ecologically, very versatile spice and herb. I'm excited. Well, here we are, and out in the garden. So, I actually have 2 batches of Spicebush berries. One I already planted. Ooh. That wind probably isn't doing you any favors, huh? Alright, I'll speak up, because I don't know how this is going to sound in camera. So, I have 2 batches of Spicebush berries. One is back there in the dirt somewhere. The other one is here, where that egg carton is. So I took an old beat up egg carton out of the compost pile from this morning. Just enough to put a little bit of dirt in. So let me get this close to it. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. Yep, you can see that. So we've got the dirt here and a berry. So put one in each little cup. 1, 2, 3. And then take the dirt from submerging this and just bury them in the dirt. Now, I don't know how much dirt to put on them, so just a couple of inches. Usually when you do, there we go, hi again. Usually when you do something like an annual, those you only put a 1/2 inch to maybe an inch underground. But this is a bush, so this is a perennial, so it may need a little more dirt, a little more covering. Also, it is going to have to overwinter. It's not going to come up until spring, so I need it to have a little bit more protection. I'm trying to empty out my barrel of Dave's fetid swamp water, which I won't do a video on this year, just kind of drawing inspiration from his videos on it, and I think it's helping. I mean, I can't, I don't have test beds. I might do that next year, excuse me, just to test, see what recipes work better. But I will give these some water. It'll also be an interesting test here because the previous ones, I put them in fresh and with dirt from the bush that I got them off of, so forest dirt from back in the woods. This, I had them in the refrigerator over the weekend because I just forgot about them. And then I'm using dirt from the garden, so we'll see. It's not much of an experiment because those are 2 major factors that could affect their freshness. But just to recap, ideally pick them fresh. Bury the egg carton a few inches under the dirt. Put a little bit of dirt on in each of the cups. Put 1 seed in each cup. 1 berry, I should say. The berry around the seed is good food, starting food for the seed. So berry in there, and then bury it with dirt. There's probably some more wind there. Bury it with dirt, and I'll probably have a follow-up video next year when if they start coming up.